Jack Russell, I've never done anything to hurt me. Um, he just had an addiction. He's still a brother. It's unfortunate because he's such a talent. He had one of the best rock voices ever. He could sing anything, beautiful ballads, anything hard, heavy hitting. He had the range, good quality voice. Just the greatest ever.
Hello, guys. I'm Silvia here, and today we're here with Mark Kendall and Leandro, of course, and we are going to interview the legend of Great White. So, Mark, first things first. How are things going with Great White nowadays?
Uh, Fantastic. We're playing all over the place, mostly in the States and Canada. We just played a couple days ago, getting ready to do another show. We just had a writing session with the whole band. Everybody flew in, and we all went to the drummer's house. And what we usually do is we sit in a circle and say, "What do you got?" You know, and and then I'll go, "Well, I got this," and they go, "Oh, I like that. Let's work on that." And then we go in the practice room and all put in our ideas and make songs that way. So we got about 3 songs done that day. I've been working with the singer. A friend of mine has a really good studio who used to be, you've heard of Dio? Dio, yeah. He used to play guitar with Dio for like 7 years. And I've known him since we were teenagers. And his studio's a lot better than mine. So I go to his house and record ideas over there. And he's a good friend. His name's Tracy G. And so that's what we do. We write on our own. We write as a group, and and hope for the best.
So you got some plans for the new album, yeah, or not?
Yeah.
But you can talk about this album or not? It's still secret.
Oh no, it's not a secret. It's just that we're just writing right now, and then we're trying to figure out how we're going to release it because today's world is so much different that we might just release maybe 1 song at a time with a video. Maybe do that 3 times and then release everything after that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of because the way it is these days, when I was growing up, I knew everybody's name in Led Zeppelin, and I go to the record store and I get a Led Zeppelin record and I sit with it all day long. But today, I think they download 2 songs from him, 2 songs from that band, a song from that, you know what I mean? So the human connection isn't like when we were growing up. So we don't want to give too much information because of today's world. So that way their attention is not going all over the place. So we'll give you 1 song and a video. Watch that for a while. and then kind of do it like that, and then give them all the music we made, and hopefully they can all sit and enjoy that after we've given you like 3 songs. A lot of bands are doing it that way. Bon Jovi did it that way recently, and I think it's a good way to do it today. Give them a good song. It's similar to the past because you're releasing a single. The only thing different is we're going to give you another single after that instead of the whole record. You know what I mean? So that we've been talking to a lot of people. So we want to get our music to the people the best way for today.
Yes. So comparing to the classic vocalists who have been a band such as Jack Russell, Terry Lewis, Mitch Malloy. What's it like working with the current singer Brett Carlisle?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's hard to replace a guy like Jack Russell. He's such a great singer that we kept kind of, if you understand this word, we were settling. Like this guy does pretty good. We'll settle for him. You know what I mean? And we went on like that for a while. The last guy that we were jamming, that was in the band for a minute, was called Andrew Freeman. He's in a band called Last in Line with Vivian Campbell from Def Leppard. And so when Vivian's busy with Def Leppard, he needs to do something. But then when Vivian comes home from Def Leppard, they get really busy, and our schedules might conflict to where we have to, if he's busy with Last in Line, that's his main band. So what we did was we auditioned 3 different singers. We took our biggest songs like Rock Me and, a couple other ones, and took all the vocals off of a live recording and gave it to 3 singers. And one of them was Brett Carlisle, that we knew through a friend of ours who said he's a real good singer. And we got all the tapes back, the MP3s, and he seemed to be the only one that was paying attention. So I didn't want to do the show with him unless we rehearsed. So we rehearsed with him one time the day before the show in Las Vegas. And the night of the show, my headphones, I didn't hear him very good in my headphones. I couldn't hear his vocal that well, but the crowd was really loud and into it and rocking. And then people were coming up to me after the show, journalists, saying, if I don't keep that guy, I'm crazy and all this stuff, right? So I figure he did a good show, but I haven't heard it or anything. And then it kind of became world news, and so I'm looking at all this internet stuff. Everybody's raving about how great he is. I still haven't heard him yet, really. So I saw YouTube of the show of one song, Stick It, from our very first album. He sings it perfect, right? It was like blew my mind. I go, oh my God, I didn't know this guy was this good. And so he did another show and then another one. And then we called him as a group and say, what do you think about joining the band? And so he's been in the band for 2 years now, and he sings everything perfect. He's kind of an old soul, even though he's a young man. He's only 27 years old, but he's nothing overwhelms him. He just goes out and kills every night at the show. He doesn't go, oh my God, this is a big moment. He just goes out and does it. And he's real good at hearing new music. Like I play him an idea and he sings back to me when he hears it. Like he hears things in his head good. So he has a good sense of a song. And that's really good too. He's just a great front man. He's natural with the fans. He doesn't have a scripted. Nothing scripted. He just goes out and gives a guy a high five and says, "Hey, what's going on, bro?" He's very, it's natural for him to talk to people and get the crowd going and all that. So he has that, and he sings perfect every night. And also, him being a younger man, he does things that we would never do. Like we played, he'll go to the beach on show day, or he'll go do something, like that requires energy the day of the show, and still goes out and it's like no problem, right? So in that regard, his younger years helps him out a little bit. But yeah, he's just a joy to have in the band. We finally feel like we finally found somebody that can go out and deliver all our history really good live, because when you come see a band live, you don't want to hear a singer that can't quite sing it right, or maybe the notes are too high. You know what I mean? So when a guy goes out and just sings perfect, and you go, "That's the stuff I've heard in the radio my whole life," you know, you know. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with him.
No, great. Good
Yeah.
to know.
He's very charismatic. So, you are a blues player, and I might say that you are one of that made me enjoy the blues rock. And Great White is known for its blues influence. Uh, was it the intention since the beginning to be a
Yeah.
bluesman?
Um, I think well, I started playing when I was very young, and I just learned the songs of the time, which were old songs like Gloria, Wipeout, Pipeline. They're kind of like surf songs, and Gloria was by a band called the Standells that nobody's probably heard of. And then like Secret Agent Man, Wipeout. That's the stuff I was listening to. Um, the Stones and the Beatles and stuff. But when I discovered more of, well, first let me say this: the first albums that my dad got for me was Cream, Jimi Hendrix, and the Doors. But I never listened to the guitar that much when I was 9 years old. I sang with the records. I sang along. I like to sing and sing with it, and just I love the songs a lot. I was really captivated by the music and the song, but I didn't isolate and go, "Oh, that guy's a great guitar player" at that age. But I kept playing, and I was doing other things that kids do. I played baseball. I played sports. Rode mini bikes. I was in scouts. I did, little kid stuff. Got in trouble. All that stuff. But I was always playing guitar. And when I was 14 years old, I was watching the concert called Woodstock. The bit old one from 1969,
Yes.
and I saw Carlos Santana playing, and he was sweating bullets, and he grabbed a note, and he was just squeezing it like for dear life almost. And when I looked at that, I just said, I want to be like that guy, and I just listened to nothing but Santana, and I just loved the way he played. And because of when I was a child and I listened to vocals so much and I loved the melody of the singing, it seemed that he was doing that with his guitar. He was singing with his guitar, and the things he played were, I remember, what, from the way he plays, it's very melodic and sweet. And, he just, you can tell that he grabs the note and squeezes it because he feels that way. He's feeling that way at that moment. He just feels like squeezing this note and holding it however long he feels like, right? So I would that captivated me, and I wanted to play with a lot of feel. And my dad played with a lot of feel. My dad was a trumpet player. He played in jazz, but he used to squeeze those notes, and I just wanted to play with feeling and passion, and that is what blues guys do. So, I didn't have like a bunch of blues records or anything. It's just that the guitar players I gravitated to had that kind of blues style. Even if they were in a rock band, they didn't play a million notes. You know what I mean? They do that, but only as a dynamic. Like if I had to make an example, if a singer sings real high, it's really cool because he just did it on this one part, like for dynamics. But if he sings real high all the time, it's like it's flatlining. There's no dynamic. So I don't like to just play a bunch of notes that you're not going to remember in 5 minutes. I'd rather do something because my attitude is this singer gets to sing all these beautiful melodies. How come I can't? You know, I want to do what he's doing, but on my guitar. It's just like, for example, the solo in Stairway to Heaven. It's like you can hum the whole solo, you know. And he wrote that solo. Jimmy Page wrote that solo to that song. So when I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in a solo, I don't sit there and tell myself, you know, I wonder how many notes I can get away with before the band's going to complain. I don't think that way. I think, what can I do to make this song the best it can be? You know what I mean? Because I'm out for the song. I want to do something that's going to help this song. And so that's kind of the way I approach everything. And when you hear the whole band Great White, you're listening and you're going, I hear kind of the blues in there, but they got a keyboard player, you know, and it's like, well, oh, that guy, he likes Elton John, and he likes, you know, the softer side of music and stuff like that. But then you got me in there playing the blues type stuff. So it's like when we all play together, it just makes a certain sound, like any band. You know, when AC/DC play together, they sound like that. You know, when we play together, we sound like this. You know what I mean? So most bands have a, you know, certain thing that a sound that they have when they play together. And we're very old school. We always get in a room and we play, because a lot of good things happen when we do that. You know, we've
Yes.
never emailed each other our parts or anything. You know?
Then the
Yeah,
demos.
yeah. I always wondered what an album would be like if it would still sound like us if we emailed our parts like that and put it all together and never even play together. Just go, here's my part. You know, it'd be weird because a lot happens when you play together that you don't plan. It's just from because we've been in a band together so long that things happen kind of just because it does. And like the drummer might all of a sudden do all these accents and we'll follow him. We'll do it too. But we didn't plan that. You know what I mean? So a lot of things like that happen when you play together, you know.
You totally
So,
right about your kind of playing, because I remember when I listened to the glam metal bands and hard rock bands from the 80s. When I listened to Great White for the first time, I beginning to pay attention to solos. I said, "Man, this guy is so awesome! Play every single note and the right time, different from many bands. The only shredding, yeah." You were
Yeah.
totally different
What's
from the other
shredding?
guys. Very good. It's very
Yeah.
different. Yeah, because the Great
Yeah.
White, that's what is one of makes Great White so unique, I think.
Thank you, Leonardo. Yeah, well, for one thing, those guys are so good. I'd have no chance to play like that. So I just kind of I play within my own skills and do what I can for the song. And I can play fast. You know, I know some things on guitar, but I use it more for dynamics. I don't use it as my entire style. Like just to play fast for no reason. You know, it gives you nowhere to go. It's like if I'm playing this really fast thing, what am I going to do from there? Play faster? You know, or you know, it's like what am I doing here? So I don't know. You know, there's so many great guitar players out there. I got so many heroes. I don't even. It would take me a while to make a list, but got a lot of influences. Most of them play with like you're talking about the blues, like you know Johnny Winter, Alvin Lee, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. I like a lot. You know Richie Blackmore. I don't know. It's just guitar players that just do something for me. You know, I don't know what that is. It's just you know, you feel like that they feel the song's really good. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know. You know, certain people have that, and certain people don't. You know, I don't know what to say about that. That, you know, some people just have a good feel for their playing. You know, it's like part of them. They were just born that way or something. I don't know what it is. Then there's others that are technically very good. You know, in fact, they're excellent at their instrument, but they don't have that. Um,
The
you know,
energy.
they don't feel the music like someone like a Billy Gibbons. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
technically, they'll blow your mind. You know? But they might not be able to grab a note and squeeze it. And if they do, they don't even know why they're doing it. You know what I mean? So, but you know, I don't know.
It's just magic. It's just I would like to think that it's just simple magic. So linking to the things that you were saying about playing together, recording together as a band in a room.
Yeah,
How was
yeah.
the composing process of the 80s and the 90s records? Like, did you guys start as a jam and evolve to the record point, or was it like project to be in that way? Like, you would write a song, like for example, House of Broken Love, and you would be with the solo, or it would be just a jam. Then you would write the lyrics for it.
Well, some of the stuff we stems from playing together. But then there's other things like I come in with a song idea that might be completely done, and we'll change a few things. You know, we like to work as a group, um, and that's about the only time that you're going to hear about Great White arguing. You know, we might do a little fighting. Is usually over a song because we all want to be right, and we want this song to be the best it can be and not let our egos get in the way. Just do what's best for the song to where when it's all said and done, even if we got in some arguments, the song wins. That's the goal. No matter what happens, the song has to win. So, but a lot of times I write on my own a lot. I walk around here like a zombie, you know, around my house. I got riffs going in my head. And my wife knows when I'm in that mode. She just doesn't even bother. She just lets me get wacky. And yeah, a certain energy happens when I like. Usually, I could be lazy, but if I know we want to do a record, I I vibrate at a higher frequency, and my brain starts working. You know, just because I know it'd be like an athlete knows he has a game, and he kind of his endorphins and everything kind of rises because he knows something's gonna happen, and that's kind of the way it is when you know you're going to do a record. I want to, you know, keep my creative brain working, which is really why we're in a band. We want to keep making music, even if it's free. I don't even care. It's like I've made the example. Like if you're a painter, you don't go out and sell the same painting every year, right? You want to come with a new one and go check this out. This is pretty good too. I hope you like it. Please tell me you love it. You know, and so that's what kind of keeps our energy level where it should be. You know, motivated is to keep making music. That's why I do it. I'm hoping that I can outdo my past. You know, it gives me a goal. You know, even if it doesn't happen, at least I have that vision. Like I think I can do better. And then just hope that I can make a song, with my band that people will say, "Wow, I can't believe that's 2024," because that shit came out in the '80s, man. That's badass. That's what I want. I want the fans to be impressed and like our music. We do it for ourselves, but then we pray that the fans are going to like it. It drives me crazy, actually, because when we're done with the record, there's this space and time where you got to wait to find out if it's good or not by people. And I usually go running to friends going, please tell me this is good. You know, the guys that actually will tell me if they don't like it. So I'm not just going to go to yes men that are going to tell me how great I am no matter what I play them, you know. So that's what I do because I'm so anxious to know what people are going to say that I can't wait that long. You know, I need to know right now if it's okay. When you play live, you find out immediately. The crowd lets you know right when the song ends if you're good or not, right? It's like yay or nay.
And,
Mm,
and talking about the live performances, there's some notice to have to Brazil to play live with some festivals or Great White never been here yet.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like we have to play, uh, even if we play some clubs, we need to throw in a couple festivals so we can, even if we don't make any money and we break even, we're totally happy to do that. But we need a couple festivals for our expenses, and then we'll play a few clubs because I love Europe, and the only thing that really keeps us away is the expenses. You know, if you throw in like a Bang Your Head festival and maybe a Brazil festival, you know, something just put us on the bill in there somewhere. Even if we're not, you know, if we're one of the opening acts, it doesn't matter. Um, because I love to play Europe, and one thing I've always loved about Europe is is the promoters. You don't have to play one certain kind of music like here it has to be the Scorpions, you know, Van Halen. You know what I mean? Everything's in the same type. To where over there we've played with Slayer, you know, Black Sabbath, and Bob Dylan all in the same day. You know what I mean? And like Iggy Pop, Buddy Guy was on the bill. I mean, you know, so they're totally willing to take chances, and people are going just about as crazy for Slayer as they are, you know, anything else. So it's funny that we can play with Sepultura and they play before us, and every song is like "Kill Your Parents." I mean, you know, every song's a million miles an hour, and it's just you know. And we go up there and we're playing Once Bitten, Twice Shy, and they're going, "Yeah, cool." You know, it's like it's all music. You know, we're there to have fun and dig it and that's what I love about Europe. It's like you can put all these different styles of music together, and people just love it. You know, people can deal with us. You know, our music rocks enough to where we can play with just about anybody. I mean, I know we just played. Well, this has been a few years now, but we played with Udo and you know a lot of heavy metal bands, and we just somehow fit right in there somehow. I don't know how it works, but it seems to be fine. And people know our music. Um, you know, we do meet and greets, and people will come with stacks of our records like this high. I'll see things that I've never even seen before, releases from here and there, you know, that I don't even have a copy of this, and I give everything to my mom. You know, I have no idea where you got this. So it's really fun in that way too, because we don't get over there as much as we'd like. So the fans bring everything they have for you to sign, and we're happy to sign it.
so mm, now talking about records, do do you have a good relationship with your 90s records? Like we know that the Hooked album is still a good catch, and the Cycle City album too. Do you think
Oh,
that they are that great as they sound?
yeah. I think those are good records. Even Can't Get There From Here, that came a little later in the 90s, was a good record. But Psycho City, it was just the timing of it. It was, you know, the Seattle thing with Nirvana and all the bands that came in the 90s, that our era kind of was on the back burner for a little bit. So it just wasn't great timing for those albums, but we aren't going to change because something's popular swimming by. You know, we just, we just play the best we can, and and hit our knees and go, please God, make people like this. I mean, but we're not going to try to sound like something that we're not, because we're just not. That wouldn't even be fun for me. I need to like it. I need to like what I'm playing, and then I just pray you'll like it too. You know what I mean? And so, but I actually liked the music that came out of the '90s. A lot of it, like Nirvana. When I first seen them, it was such a breath of fresh air for me to see these guys just plug in their amps and throw on anything you want, and like they don't care. But the music, like they had a lot of melody in their music. The singer was really good at putting some actually quite pretty melodies to some of the stuff, and it had a nice edge to it. It was just and then Alice in Chains was another band that I really liked, and we played with them before. So but we just kept playing, but we were just playing like mid-sized venues instead of arenas. We didn't stop. It was just, but we were a little bit under the radar. We were swimming down here. The old shark was down here instead of up here. But it was funny. I saw David Lee Roth in Pasadena. I was at this restaurant, and I seen David Roth from Van Halen, and we were talking, and he's going, "What have you guys been up to, man? How's the band?" And I go, "Well, we're doing everything we've always done. It's just like nobody knows about it, because, we were playing arenas, we're on MTV, we're on the radio every 5 minutes. And then this new music comes in, and like, we're just kind of squashed us. But at the same time, we loved that new music because we really felt like the '80s toward the very end was getting a little bit too predictable. And I think that has to do with the record companies all wanting their rat, and all wanting their duck in, and all wanting their whoever, and so then you're getting third generations of ducking,
Yes.
and that the music became so predictable that you almost knew what the lyric was going to be before you heard it. So when these kids come along, Nirvana, and they're just really trashy, and it was almost like a breath of fresh air in a way. Of course, I didn't want to have to go bag your groceries or anything. I mean, I still want to play my guitar, so, but I don't have to play arenas and stadiums. I mean, I'm perfectly happy, even though we do play a lot of festivals and stuff. I don't mind playing, for 3,000. Like we just played, not too far from where I live, in Orange County, where we first started, and we played the Honda Center with Quiet Riot, Slaughter, and Vixen, and it's like 5,000 people. So I thought that was respectable for this day and age, because when I was growing up, my parents' music was so distant from anything that I would go want to see live, But today we see 20-something-year-olds all the time at our shows. I think they might think that their parents weren't so, corny, or like at least this stuff it's rocking. See, with our parents, their music was like big bands and singers, like lounge type singing and all that. It wasn't rock. So I mean,
Yes.
a guy 15 now is going to say AC/DC is the greatest thing ever. So I think the generations have been able to deal with us pretty good. We're pretty happy with that.
Yes.
I want to say one thing. I was in Sweden. Okay, and I was in the hotel, and I went outside, and I used to smoke, so I went out to have a cigarette, and there were almost maybe 15 kids that looked like they were 22 years old wearing clothes that I wore in 1985, you know, scarves and all this stuff. And I'm going, wow, it was like they discovered something, man. This 80s rock is badass. I love it, And when I saw that, it just totally like brought me joy to see somebody 20 years old that loves our music, because they researched a little bit and found us somehow. And then so when I see 20-year-olds at our gig, I just think it's great.
Great.
So I might say that I am one of those kids, and I feel really happy for you because I am like 19 years
awesome.
old, and I see you guys, and I felt like it's been like 2 years since I am into like the glam thing and stuff. And when I first discovered Great White, I was like, oh my god, how are this been like this? Like, how they don't need that much production like the other bands to be that amazing, that glamorous. So it's really nice to see you guys still around, still playing.
I would love to go over there. If we get some kind of offer, or maybe a promoter gets a hold of our agent or something, or I'd love to play Brazil. That's a place we never played. We played Italy. We played a lot of places. I remember one tour with Alice Cooper. We played a lot of countries on that tour, but we really haven't gotten to. We never played Australia. There's so many areas we haven't covered. Brazil is one of them. I would love to play there. In fact, I saw a big, huge concert with AC/DC. You guys have like these stadium gigs that are just insane. It's like everybody's moving exactly the same. I mean, it's that crazy. I love it.
Great. And still talking about the new bands in that time, man, you said when the grunge came, and you played with a Guns N' Roses. That was a new band in that time. You played together. We have the same manager, Alan Evans. So And how was to see the Guns N' Roses reach the success so quickly in that time? You were already in the top, but Guns N' Roses in the beginning, and so in 2 or 3 years, the band reached the top, the mainstream. How was to see the guys reach the top so fast?
Yeah. Well, the manager, I got to give him a lot of credit because Geffen, the record company, was ready to do a second record, and they were only at 250,000 sold. And Alan Niven begged them to put Jungle back on the radio again, hit the radio again. And he goes, I'm going to send Slash out there with Les Pauls to the biggest stations, signed Les Pauls, get these guys, because they kind of missed it the first time. Let's go with Jungle again. And I saw this chalkboard in our offices, and it was this record sales. It was like they were selling like 1,200 a week. Then you could see the growth, 3,000, and it just kept going up to where they were selling like 30,000 in a day. I mean, Jungle was a word of mouth, a lot of word of mouth. Just my friend telling your friend, you got to check these guys out. And I think the reason they went so big quick is because the record was so good. It was good sonically, and the substance, the songs were good songs, really good. Great guitar player, a lot of energy in their performance. We actually only played with them one show, and I jammed with Slash at some benefit one time, but we played Red House for like an hour. But we played in New York, and they had just gone gold. We were, I think, past 2 million. And Alan said, I want you guys to open tonight. Open for Guns N' Roses. I go, fine, no problem. We'll play first. We're both playing an hour. The MTVs are there. And we go, that's no problem. He just said, the buzz in New York on Guns N' Roses right now is just like sick. I mean, there's, people are really excited. So we thought it was fine, and we both had a good night. Um, it's just a totally great show. It's on the internet today, and I can actually look at it. Back then, I that night I had 103 temperature. I was a little sick, and so the way we cured everything back then is drink more beer, just have more beers that night. So I had about 5 Heinekens and I was fine, but I was like bleeding sweat because I was actually had a temperature. I was, so I was a hot mess, but I played pretty good. And so, yeah, so it was good management. He's a very good businessman. He talked David Geffen into giving the record a little bit more time, and it was the right thing to do. And then they just kept coming with a big song after a big song, and and then they played some big shows in Europe, and I've never seen a band that just, I mean, they literally have, I don't know how many records they have, but the first one is the one that just went silly, and then that double album, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 or whatever, that did pretty good.
It's a 40 album. 30 album.
Yeah, yeah, and then so they just that's one of the biggest debut albums probably ever for rock band. I mean, at least up there in the top 3 or 4. I know Van Halen's opening album, their first album was gangbusters, just killer as well. And I grew up watching Van Halen because they're kind of my era. And so I saw them in people's houses, in their backyards. So I watched those guys grow from like an embryo into a national act. But yeah, that's it. Good management, made all the right moves, and the band really had good energy. They were partying a lot, and there was definitely some things going on, but they always made the gig and played with tons of energy. They always had good shows. They played real good. So that's all that people care about. They don't care what you're doing away from the stage. Just when they go pay to see you play, they want a good show, and they usually delivered.
Yes, and to this day, Great White has reached the mark of the 10 million records sold, which is incredible number, yeah. With almost 15 years, if you start to begin in the 79, yeah, 77 after the Nancy Fox. And what I want to know is what's the biggest and best memories do you have in the Great White in the past, in the 80s, in the top, when you were in the top? What's the greatest memories? What you passed the time?
One of the, obviously, like, sharing success with your parents is kind of a big deal, because my dad wanted me to be a professional baseball player, and I think his thinking was that he didn't make it in music, so he figured that I won't either. So he wanted me to go after baseball. But at 18 years old, I knew there was no chance for that whatsoever, and I loved music. So I went full-time music, and he was supportive. I just don't think he thought that it was going to go anywhere. I mean, and it didn't have to. Your stars kind of have to line up, and you need a little luck, and plus you have to be good. So it's not easy. But one of the memories I have is when we were teenagers, or even in my early 20s, it was a dream of mine to play our local arena called the Forum, because that's where we went and saw Zeppelin, we saw Ted Nugent, we saw Rush, and AC/DC and all the big bands. That's where they played. That's the best place you can possibly play if you're in a rock band. So when we played there, it was a really big deal, because the record company gave us platinum records on the stage, and I had guys in the front row that I was in 7th grade with, So there was guys that I knew when I was 12 years old in the front 10 rows. So that made it a lot of fun to be able to share all that, because my mom and dad, I mean, they went through it. Us playing in the garage way too loud, and we just drove them batty, and so for it to go somewhere, it's kind of special. Um, there was a lot of moments like that. Nominated for a Grammy, that was a really good moment. Um, but some of the best memories I have is before we made it. Because a lot of people helped us. We had a lot of friends. You can't do it alone. We had a guy with a milk truck that took all our stuff to the show, and people helping us for free, girls feeding us, because we're starving to death, and so you don't forget all those guys. Um, I I remember our first tours were very special because we'd never played a big show before, like an arena. And I remember after we toured with Whitesnake and playing Wembley Arena and stuff, it was just frightening, but it was also a great moment as well. And
And the
then when we
monsters, yeah.
came to, yeah, we came to the States with Judas Priest, and it was the day before our first show in Niagara Falls, New York, and they were doing a video. So we got to go down the arena and watch the video, and it looked like we were going to open for Godzilla or something. I mean, it was scaring us, and I was so frightened that I mean I could barely even like watch it. I go, we're going to set our little amps and stuff in front of this mountain. I mean, but the good news is we had a great first show, and the whole band, they like adopted us. I mean, they were like treated us. They knew we were green. They knew we were new to all this, and we were frightened kids. So they told us things to help us. They wanted us to do well, and that made us, when we had opening acts, we always treated everybody really good. We want the whole night to be good. We don't want us to come out, because that was their attitude. We learned that from bands like Judas Priest and the Scorpions. They want the opening acts to do good. They don't want you to suck. I've even had Rudolph Schenker tell me, Mark, you got to step up your game, man. You know, that ain't working, buddy. He's going, I go, holy shit, Rudolph Schenker told me to play better. Oh no, I'm in trouble. You know, and I didn't think anybody would notice. I had such a bad technical night. My amp went out 3 times. Just like everything that could go wrong went wrong. But I kind of thought I got away with it. And right after the show, Rudolph Schenker said, buddy, you need to rock hard, man. you know, but just a lot of wonderful moments. Obviously, getting dropped off our very first label and then making our own record, and then getting a second opportunity to get another chance. That was like a miracle. I mean, and they just said, go in and make a good record. And then, so we had to, and we came with Rock Me and some good songs. And that seemed to, people related to that music. They liked the music, and we had the radio behind us helping us. That's what I mean. There's so many people that helped us. It's like, if you take all those people away, man, I'd be in a lot of trouble right now. So the MTVs and all that, it's really helpful to get your music to the people.
So, as you were saying about singing with your guitar, your own guitar and Jack Russell's voice made a huge difference for the 80s hard rock. What are your thoughts about his departure?
It's awful. It was awful. We basically just said we wanted him to get well,
Yeah.
and do better, because he wasn't able to perform up to his potential because of addiction. And I myself have been sober for almost 16 years, and I work with a lot of people that, you know, that suffer and are struggling. I only work with people who need help, and but some people, it's harder than others. The addiction just overwhelms them, and they really have a hard time stopping. And I never take anyone's addiction personal. You know, they're not Russell. I've never done anything to hurt me. Um, he just, you know, he just had an addiction. He's still a brother. It's unfortunate because he's such a talent. You know, he had one of the best rock voices ever. He could sing anything. Beautiful ballads, anything hard, heavy hitting. He had the range, good quality voice. Just the greatest ever. So it was a little tough because we made a band together, just me and him. It's like when he first met me, he auditioned for my band, and then he said, "Why don't you and me get away from this deal and go make our own thing?" And so the brotherhood was just amazing from the get go, and we created everything from nothing. Just him and I, you know, getting this bass player and that drummer, and just plugging away and making music. So, you know, you hate for something to happen, like, you know, to where someone can't perform to their potential anymore. It's unfortunate, but we're just moving down the road. You know, of course, wishing him the best. You know, I know he's really in a bad spot, so you just got to pray for people. That's why I make myself available. I don't hide from anybody. I'm available on Facebook, all the social medias, just offering my sober friendship to anybody that's out there suffering or struggling. Um, Nothing more than that. The only thing that I'm offering is I can tell them my story, how I got sober, and what's worked for me, and maybe they can take a couple things and that will help them get started. You know, and I send about 170 people a day prayer and meditation, and just something to start their day with. You know, that has messages in there and stuff, and just remind people that it's just a day at a time. If you can just stay good today, you know, you'll be ready for tomorrow to start over, because you don't want to say, I'm never going to drink again, or I'm never going to do this again, or, you know, I'm done, or any of that. All you got to do is when you wake up in the morning, to say, please keep me sober one more day, you know, and because the time takes care of itself. You know, look at how fast time goes flying by. I mean, you know, so you don't have to think about how long you're going to do it. Just, you know, because some people lose a lot. They lose their families, they lose their jobs, their, you know, their livelihood, and you know, and I'm only talking about abuse. I'm not talking about people that enjoy themselves and go have a couple drinks with their friends. You know, they call those normal people. But so that's what I kind of do for a hobby on the side. You know, try to make a contribution, because I think, you know, contributing to people is important, because yeah, maybe people remind, you know, when I'm long gone, they'll go, yeah, that guy played good guitar, but he helped. He also helped addicts. You know, there'd definitely be something to say about that. You know, because there's a lot of guitar players out there. You know, so I'd rather be the guy. You know, I just want to be a man of contribution. You know, not just live my life and have it be all about me. You know, if I can help somebody, because I've seen a lot of success, and I've seen people look horrible and then look really good, and they get all their stuff back, and their lives are amazing. You know, and that's pretty fun to see that. If you can watch a person get well, get a sick person get well, it's like awesome. It's amazing.
Yes. And so, any chance for a reunion or kind of that, or of participation on that album with Jack Russell, or nothing that?
Um, I don't know. It hasn't come up. I think he's not well right now, from what I'm hearing and seeing on the internet. Um, so I don't know. Anything could happen. You never know. I just, the opportunity hasn't came.
And
I know because I'm a fan myself, and I'd like to see all my heroes bands all keep the same members their entire career. I don't even want the bass player to change. Sometimes you're in a position to where that's not possible, even though the fans would love it and so would we. It just, you know you get somebody who's sick. I mean, I don't know what to do. And my whole life is my guitar. I love playing my guitar. I don't care how I have to do it. I'm not going to stop playing guitar. And so I just, I heard a friend of mine saying, just like my neck tattoo says, I'm doing the best I can.
Yes.
so, talking about singers that went through this entire thing about addiction and stuff, Jani Lane sang with Great White in 2010,
Yeah.
a year before his passing. So, how
Yeah.
were his performance as a vocalist
How was to be the band in the band?
with
Well,
him?
because we are a great fans of Orange too.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I worked with Janie also on sobriety. I sent him prayer, meditation every day. We talked on the phone about every day. He came out with us, and he was sober. Had his wife, out with him. He never looked better. He sang better than he ever had. I mean, for people are saying they haven't heard him sound that good in 20 years. He was doing so well. And I remember we were sitting at an airport outside, and it was like 10 in the morning, and it was just a beautiful day. It was gorgeous. And he was sitting with his wife, and they're just sitting together. And I go, you know, you're singing better than you ever have. The sun is shining, and you're totally sober, and your wife is gorgeous. What's wrong with this? And he goes, nothing, man. This is awesome. And what I was trying to say is, this is the life you dream of having. Addiction's just such an ugly world. You know, but you have to keep your guard up. Especially when you have a strong addiction. And just a couple days, he didn't get a hold of me, and I was trying to hunt him down, and then the next thing I knew, he passed away. It can happen just like that. You don't know when the fatal blow is going to come. That's why you got to really stick to one day at a time, and try to do well. It's a shame because he's so talented. He's so talented. He wrote all the songs. He played drums on the first couple albums. I mean, the guy was just he was really amazing. Very, very talented man. Very talented.
Yes. So we go into 1 hour of the interview, Mark, and we need to ask the last question. We want to talk with
Yeah.
you for 3 4 days, but we can't. You have the full schedule, so we have to need to ask the last question. What's the three best albums of all time for you?
um, Best albums all time. Um, Here, well, the first time I'm going to mention is just because the memories I have of it are so amazing. It even makes me feel a certain way when I think of this album, which is Jimi Hendrix Experience. Are you Experience? That album is so amazing. It's such a good album. And then another one. I like AC/DC's Black Album. That the first one they made with the new singer. It's just absolutely amazing that
Yes.
what they came with on that record. I just to this day it just blows my mind. As far as rock, and then another really one of my favorites that always takes me. Like when I listen to this album, I know every song. I know what I was doing at that time. I know how old I was. I know where I was, what I was thinking, what I was doing. You know, and that's Tres Hombres, ZZ Top.
Oh, great.
Tres Hombres, ZZ Top. Yeah,
And from
wait
Great Whites,
all day.
and from Great
Great
Whites,
White.
what's the best album for you? What's what the best, the greatest
Ah,
album from the Great Whites?
I like. Can I pick two because there's two
Yes.
different reasons I like them. Our very first album, the black one, and I like Once Bitten. That that was because I the memory I have with the record company in the control room after we done finished the record and hearing "Rock Me" back over the speakers really loud. It was like I was getting chills because I didn't know what would when you're recording and you're just playing all your parts and stuff, they're rewinding the tape and and then it gets done and mixed and everything. It was like I was hearing it for the first time. I didn't know what we'd done yet. I didn't, So when I heard it back, I'm going, "That's really us, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is pretty good." I mean, the song was really long, but I thought it didn't seem that long, even though it was 7 minutes. It didn't seem 7 minutes to me. I think because the dynamics were going all over the place. You never felt like if you just played one level for 7 minutes, just everything on 10 real
Yes.
loud, and you're just go 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 go. It would seem like you're there for a week, right? But for some reason, the Rock Me, you could listen to it, you don't feel like you've been there an hour.
Yes, I remember when I listened to the Rock Me on the headphones, on the earphones.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
beginning very slow, easy, and it's not loud. When it ends, the drums and the guitars they get louder. it's so so it's
yeah.
so it's so gorgeous to listen that kind of music that way.
Dynamic. The way I
Yes,
did it when I first came up with the just the intro is I was pedaling one note
yes.
with my thumb and just playing something else while I just did that. The bass ended up doing that, but that's how I came up with that.
So, Mark, it's a pleasure having you in this interview. We love so much. We are great white fans. We love your job. Hope to see us in Brazil soon.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Thank you.
that. Thanks for having me on your show.
it's
Yes.
Nice meeting you. Nice to
a
meet you.
pleasure.
And hope
Hopefully we get
to
to
listen
Brazil.
Yes, we were waiting. You were waiting, and hope to listen to the new great album, Great White album soon too.
I'll let you know when we come with it. When we're ready to
Yeah.
start releasing songs. Yeah, yeah, I think
Yes,
it's going to be good.
yes.
Bye. Thank you so much, Mark. Yes. We are
Thanks,
amazing.
Sylvia. Thanks, Leonardo.
Thank you.